Hello, everybody. My name is Boulanger. I am an independent safety assessor. I receive some software, complete documentations. On the industrial or the authority request, I say yes or not, this software is safe. And in this presentation, I try to explain you how we have new methodology, new approach to demonstrate that the software is correct. And one experience is the line 14 in Paris. We developed in '98. It's a long story. And I try to explain you what we do and how what we do influence the new version of the CNELEC and what is the spirit of the new CNELEC. The line 14 in Paris is inaugurated the 15 October '98. It is a short line, 7 kilometers. And we have many passengers, 25,000 passengers by hour, and the speed is limited to 40 kilometers. And we have a short interval between the different trains, and the train is in automatic in general. The system is a distributed system with one equipment in the train, one equipment that manages one section, and one equipment that manages the complete line, plus different systems for communications. As you can see in these pictures, the line is decomposed in different sections, section 1, 2, 3, and until the end of the line. You have one equipment in the train, the onboard controller that manages the train speed, and you have one automatic line controller that manages different automatic sections. We have two kinds of trains. Some trains are equipped with some equipment, or you have some not equipped train. And this is the particularity of the line 14. It's possible you use one train without equipment. You can go in this line, and your train is safe, managed by the other train. You have two modes for running: automatic or manual. The difficulty of this development. It's not a difficulty. The spirit of the RATP, the RATP is a Parisian subway authority. In the first project, in the '80s, the RATP asked to develop a specific cab signaling that puts the speed to the conductor, and the conductor can manage the speed without management of the signaling. And the idea of this software is to help the conductor. But when we develop this software in '80, it is Modula 2 language that use. We have a small processor, and people ask, okay, if we have a bugs, and the RATP request that the industrial do some proof that the software fulfills some properties, and the safety properties, for example. But we are in '80. It's very difficult in '80 to do the proof because it is done by the hand, manually. And when we want to do the proof, we have the difficulties, and some people ask to redevelop the software with a formal method, such the Z method. And we develop a new model. We split the model in different parts. We decompose the safety properties in different safety properties. And after 1 year, we can do the proof that the small software fulfills the safety properties, and we discover many bugs. Many bugs in the software we have completely tested, but we discover some bugs. And the RATP request for all the software that we do the formal proof that the software fulfills the safety properties, because we know it's difficult by test to demonstrate that one software is safe. And what software fulfills the properties just by testing. We need to do more things, because some bugs are not just in the software, but bugs are in the requirement. And the question is how we can discover some bugs very early, and how we can correct it. In the line 14, RATP in '80 decide to continue to apply formal methods, and we decide to have a specific general computer with different capacity. The industrial, in this case, is Matra Transport, now Siemens, develop the specifications, develop the code, do some testing, but the RATP validate that the model, the B model plus the test are sufficient to demonstrate the safety. On the RTP, I have one question. Are you sure that the requirements are complete and correct? On the RTP, take the specifications and modelize the specifications, verify if the specification fulfills the safety properties, and extract some specific test cases from the models and play these test cases on the software developed by Matra Transport. It is the process we apply. And we have one difficulty with the Line 14 in Paris because we discover that in new railway applications, we have many data. As you can see, we have many data, and the question is how we can produce some data, how we can demonstrate that the data are correct, and how we can validate the data. In IT, we have no standard that discusses of data preparations and data validations. And we develop some methodology, and we can generate the data. We can, with the B method, develop the model, generate the code, prove that the code fulfills the model, and compile the two parts of the software. The difficulty with data is from one-line descriptions and train characteristics. We need to generate the data for the computer that manages the line, for the computer on board the train, and for the different section computer. We have different set of data to generate for the same line. And we need to demonstrate that the different data are coherent and correct. With the B method, normally we need to apply a V-cycle. And with the B method, the idea is we replace some verification activities, such as the unit testing or integration testing, by some proof. And we can do the proof very early in the life cycle, and we can verify that the formal expressions in B is correct, and we can verify that the formal design fulfills the properties of the formal expressions. And the code generator is certified, and we are sure that the code generated is the same that in the formal design. And it's possible to remove the unit testing and integration testing because we have the proof. It is removed, but we have a new activity, the proof. And in the Line 14, we developed 3 versions of the software, just 3. And the 3 versions work correctly. And from 98, we never correct the software. We have no bugs from 98. It's very, very important because we apply the methodology. Many people say, okay, it's very complex, your model is not so easy to maintain, but we have no bugs from 98. The RTP do some activities because the RTP is the authority that manage and accept the system, and because it is the first system with the possibility to have some train with equipment or without equipment, the RTP, we want to be sure that there are no accidents, and we validate the computer, we validate the software, and we validate the product, the final product. We extract from the different, from the model some test cases, and we place the test cases on the true target to verify that the complete software fulfills the properties. The activity of the RTP help us to understand what is the system, to understand what is the different parts that are critical. We identify the list of safety functions, and we identify also the safety properties. We use in IT different tools, ELSIR or ASA. ASA Plus is a tools where you have the SADT plus the model checking. It's possible to do to calculate the different state of the models and to verify some safety properties. And we use it with very old computer, for example, the Sun Spark 1, Spark 2, and Ultra Spark. And we need many memory because the model checking consumes many memory, but we do it and we verify effectively that the software is correct. Okay. One difficulty is data preparations and data validations. In the Line 14, if you calculate the size of the code is 150 15,000 lines of code, and the size of the data is 115,000 lines of code. The data has the same size as the code. And we need to design new methodology to verify this data, and we decide to verify that the data fulfills some properties. We introduce the notion of proof at data preparation level, and we develop specific tools where you have some proof that is done on data. You have some example of proof of properties, excuse me. All track circuits are well chained in the line, for example. We need to verify that all the objects are correctly managed by the software. For this part, just some example of the result we have. We have many models. We develop at RATP 5,000 tests. For the same system, the industrial have 300 tests. And RATP produce all the complete set of tests we need for this software, and it is 5,000. We discover during the modelizations 400 safety remarks, and we ask to the industrial to change it, and we discover 110 anomalies, and this anomaly have some impact on the safety. If we don't correct it, we have some accident or we have some injuries. And these activities are very efficient because we found error very early in the process, and it's possible to correct it. The line 14 worked in Paris from 98, and we have a good result. And RATP becomes one of the first laboratory to do this kind of activity on this kind of test. In this history, we have the first system in 80 where RATP requests to use formal method. We have a new system in 98 where the RATP requests the use of formal methods. And 98 is particular because it is the years where we produce the CNLX standard, on, for example, the 5128. The 5128, the first version is 2001, but the version is produced in 98. And during the development of the line 14, people from RATP try to understand what we do and try to put it in the standard. And the standard is a copy of the activity we try to do during the development of the software. Oh. Okay. The color, the text disappear. Just the first box organizations is the clause 5. In the 28 is a clause very important that describe what is a dependency and what is the role of the different people in the project. The clause 6 is a very important clause also because it is the clause called the software assurance, and in the software assurance we have the quality, we have the competency, we have the configuration management, we have the assessment, and we have the tool qualifications. The 28 is the first standard to introduce the notion of assessment. And it is requested in the 28 that an assessor assess the complete software. The clause 7, it is called generic software. It is how we develop a software. It is a V-cycle plus all the activities. And the clause 8 is the clause dedicated to the data preparations, the application conditions. And the data preparations is very important because the question is how you produce the data and how you validate the data, how you demonstrate that the data plus the software work correctly. And the last clause, called clause 9, is a new clause, very important in the new version of standard, because the question is how you maintain your software during 20 years, but the question is how you deploy a new versions of your software in the field. You have your system in operations, and the question is how you deploy the new versions during operations. One difficulty with software is bugs, and we have many bugs, yes. We say that when we correct a bug, we introduce new bugs, yes. And now, when we put in service a software, we have a long list of bugs, we know it, and we try to correct it after we put in service. And it's more and more difficult because during operations, we need to correct the software, and it's not so easy. Okay, it's okay. Thank you. No, it's okay. You have some box that describes the different techniques. It is very interesting to have an idea of the structure of the 28, because the 28 say, okay, if you want to develop a software, or if you want to develop some data, you need to have the software assurance. And the software assurance is a basic you need to have. In software assurance, you have also one very important point is verification and validations. And it is what I explained, competency, quality, verification, validation, assessment, and tool qualifications. What is very new from some time in the new version of standard, it is a chapter tool qualification that improve and describe how you qualify the tools. Concerning the formal proof, if you read the 28, you can saw that in the table verification and testing, we introduce the notion of formal proof. You have the static analysis and dynamic analysis, metric and other, but formal proof appear for the SIL3, SIL4 software because we think, after the return of line 14, that for SIL3, SIL4 software it's very important to use this kind of method, this kind of techniques to verify that the software fulfills the properties. In the CNLEC, the formal methods are used at different places. For realizations, it's possible to produce specifications, it's possible to produce an architecture, it's possible to do some verifications. And in fact, you have two notions that are used. The notion of formal model plus formal analysis, and you have the notion of formal analysis more related to verification, such proof, model checking, and other. And in the beginning, people think we need to have some formal model to do some formal analysis. And now, many people want to do some formal analysis on non-formal code. For example, it's possible to have some C code and to verify formally that the C code fulfills some properties. One difficulty, the data. And data can be a line, can be different parameters. One difficulty with data is what is the data at system level? What the data are in input of the generic applications. The software consumes some data, and I need to produce tools that takes the data from system level and produce the data at software level. And I need to verify that these tools don't introduce some error in the data and fulfill some properties. For data preparations, in the table A11, you can solve at the line 8 that we introduce the notion of formal proof of correctness. And this technique is also very important for SIL3, SIL4, because in SIL3, SIL4 we have many data, and we have many data that have a direct impact on the safety. And this technique, the proof of data, is very efficient, and we have many tools now that do it, and it is used in many projects. For the software, for the generic software, we need to produce the software specifications, and one particularity of the 28 is each time you do some things, specifications, you produce the test cases. When you have the architecture, you produce the test cases. When you have the component, you produce the test cases. And the 28 requests that the test cases are produced very early in the cycle. One difficulty with requirement, you want to have the traceability, the feasibility, the maintainability, the testability, the verifiability, but we have the notion of coherency and completeness. And we have many tools that help you to manage the requirement, to do the traceability. But the question is, are you sure that your set of requirements is complete? And are you sure there are no problem of coherency in the requirement? In general, people read the document, do some traceability, read the document, review, and we have some difficulty to find the error in the document because it is a big set of text. And one tool, very interesting, is modelizations. It's possible to modelize the requirement. It's possible to use the modelizations to do some verifications on the requirement. It's why in the 28, in table A2, you can show that for SIL3, SIL4, the formal methods are highly recommended. It's very good to use it, but also modeling and structure methodology and also decision table. The ID, and it is in the blue box, the ID is normally the document is textual, and you need to have some textual document, but it's interesting to have some drawing associated to the textual document to try to verify that different documents are coherent and complete. And is why we introduce these situations. For modeling, we have a list of possibilities to modelize. And what is very important with modeling, but is very important also for formal method, you need to have some guideline that explain how you produce a model and how you maintain this model, how you read this model. And these tables are extracted from the 28, and we can show that formal method appear such one techniques. You can show also that for SIL0 to SIL1, SIL2, the formal techniques are just R, and the modeling is just R, and we don't need to do it because requirements are more easy to understand, perhaps. We can use the modelizations such as tools for verifications. You don't replace the textual document by the model. We use the two tools. You have some textual document and you have some model for verifications. And during the verification, it's possible to detect some incoherency or some incompleteness of the requirement. In the architecture, we need to have an architecture. We introduce a new concept in the new 28, a concept not so easy to manage. It is a concept of component. We need to develop the architecture on the base of component, and a component is a part of the software completely defined with a fully defined interfaces that fulfill a set of requirements, and this component is managed configurations. The component is the part of software we can reuse from software to another software, or it is a part of software. If this part of software don't work, we can remove it and we can put another part of software with the same interfaces and same functions. The idea is to reuse and to replace. And this idea in the new 28 is very important for the future because we want to reuse more and more the software. And we have now, from the requirement, an architecture, and we need to allocate the requirement to the architecture. And the architecture is a model because you have some box with some arrow. And in the new 28, we introduce the fact that it's very important to have a structure methodology at SIL1, SIL2 until SIL3, SIL4. And the formal method is just highly recommended for SIL3, SIL4. What is interesting is architecture at minimum is structure methodology. And you can use more modeling or formal method, but we can use structure methodology. For the component design, we have two phases. We need to produce the specifications on the test. And in the table associated to this, you can show that structure methodology is highly recommended from SIL1, SIL2, and modeling is highly recommended from SIL1, SIL2. We increase the request because the component is very near the code, and it's very important to formalize it and to verify some properties on it. More and more, we use some model and we generate automatically some code, and it's possible to have some manual activities. Just a short recall. At specification level, models are used for verification of completeness and coherency. At architecture level, we have some models to introduce architecture and for verify the allocation of requirements. At component design, we introduce formally the requirement with some formal model on the data management, and we can verify also the requirement. Just some example of how we use formal method in railway project. In this example, for example, you have a SCADE, It's possible to have some textual requirement. It's possible to have some architecture model. It's possible to refine the architecture model until you have the component. It's possible to produce the code. And it's possible to replace the component testing, integration testing, because you have some simulations or you have some proof that are done on the code. You have some proof. And the proof replace the component testing and replace the software integration testing. And we discover some bugs very early. In this case, it is more scaled. You have some simulations. Normally, you have the same arrow. You have some simulation on the model, and the simulations have the same. The simulation replace the component testing, and the simulation replace the software integration testing. And you can do the simulation on the model. And if the code generator is certified, it's possible to generate effectively the code without new activities. In general, we use this process for SCADE, and we have another tool called Control Build from Dassault. And we have many kind of applications, CBTC, RTMS, TCMS, traction and braking unit that use this methodology. It's possible you want to modelize some properties just to verify that the safety requirement is assumed by your system. You have the requirement, functional requirement, you have the safety requirement, and you can have some model to verify that the requirement the safety requirements are fulfilled by the functional requirement. It's possible to extract some test cases from this model also. More and more, we have difficulty in aeronautics with the C code. We have some difficulty with in the railway domain with the C code. More and more people want, if you have some C code, to replace some unit testing activity by some proof, because we have very bad C code developed many years ago, and we reuse it. And the question is, this C code fulfills some properties, yes or no? And we reintroduce in the code some precondition, postcondition, invariant, and we have some tools that do some proof on the C code and demonstrate that this C code fulfills some properties. It's possible also to replace some software integration testing by some proof on the C code. And for example, we can use Polyspace, Ramassé, Astray, and different tools. The last use of formal method in railway applications is related to the data. You have some process to generate the data, and you want to verify that the data fulfills some properties. We have many tools, some free tools and some commercial tools. We have many methodology, and for example, the last tools, Ovado, is developed by the RTP, and the RTP can help you to validate your data if you need it. A list of projects, a short list because we have many projects. From 98 until now, we deploy regularly new projects with the formal methods, and we mix SCADE, we mix the B method. We have some tools with the control, some projects with control build. We have many projects where we apply with success the formal method, and we have some return where the software have a very good level of safety and a good level of quality, and we have no bugs detected after we put in service, and it's very interesting. The difficulty with the formal method is not so easy. In the life, when you win something, you lose some things. The question is, what is the documentation you produce? If you have some model with SCADE, or if you have some model with the B method or with control build, or if you use SysML or UML, you have some drawing. And the question is, how you produce the documentations that help you to maintain the system during 20 years, 30 years, and 40 years. And it's not so easy because many people think the model replaces the documentations. But the models is not so easy to read, and in the model you have no requirement. You have the implementation of the requirement. Another question is, what is the complexity? What is the complexity of a drawing? If you have a SCADE model, or UML model, or SysML model, what is complex? What is the metrics? The next problem is related to the requirement management. If you have some models, it's possible to have some traceability with the requirement. If you generate some code automatically, sometimes the traceability disappears, or if the code is updated manually, it's possible some link disappear. If you use MATLAB Simulink, the traceability is very difficult, and traceability in the code and traceability with the requirement is not so easy to manage. One difficulty is what is a test? How I can do the test? Or what is, when I say I replace the test by the proof, normally with the test you have the code coverage. And for the proof, what is the code coverage? How you verify that the proof covers the complete code of your applications? How we can do the integration, the software-software integration, or how I can do some overall software test. Perhaps I can prepare the overall software test with the model. I can use it to apply it on the final target, but actually it is some questions. Last question is competence management. We have tools, and it's not easy tools. We need to have, or we have some techniques such as the proof on the model checking or the abstract interpretations. It is techniques where we need the people with a good level of qualifications to understand the techniques and to understand the tools. And the last difficulties actually is the tool qualification. If you have a prover or if you have some tools that do some proof or some model checking, the question is, are you sure that the tools work correctly? We have a difficulty today to demonstrate it. Formal method, you have 5 books. I published 5 books with the different industrial. In these 5 books, in the left part of the slide, these 5 books describe some true experience from the railway, aeronautic, automotive. In these books, people from Airbus describe how he applies the formal method in a new airplane. People from Dassault explain for military plane how we use it. And you have many examples from railway. Okay, I finish. Thank you, and thank you very much to SPRI to invite us to this meeting. Thank you for you.